Sports Source. This segment of our show brought to you by Tennova Healthcare. And I want you to do me a favor. After today's show, I want you to check out Tennova.com. That's where you're going to find more about Tennova's locations. They're all over East Tennessee. More about their futuristic technology. The stuff that they can do is absolutely amazing. And more about their unique services, from child labor to midwife services to robot-assisted surgery. Tennova does it all. They do a tremendous job. Tennova.com is where you'll learn more about Tennova Healthcare. All right, want to welcome in our basketball analyst. One of our basketball analysts is over in Charlotte now. We still have the excellent Mark Pankratz, former Division I basketball player under Bruce Pearl at Milwaukee, former staff member under Bruce Pearl here, under Cuonzo Martin here. Mark, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Wanted to get your unique insights on Rick Barnes. We've talked a little bit about Rick Barnes with the panel, but I just want to hit on a couple notes, give you a couple minutes to talk about each of these. First up, his reputation among coaches in the industry. What do people think of Rick Barnes?
I think he's elite, not only because of the wins-loss totals, NCAA appearances, but because of his ability to recruit. And then the other side, which is a big part of what Tennessee was looking for, is the integrity standpoint. Yeah. He's very highly thought of. You saw quotes from Tom Izzo and Bill Self and Jay Billis, all sorts of guys that just think really highly of him, not only as a person but also as a basketball coach.
What about guys, you mentioned recruiting ability. You look back at his history, he's not only recruited Texas, he's not going to have Texas here. I want to talk about that. Tennessee's a little different. The big basketball hub is way out, might as well be Mississippi or Arkansas. But this guy has shown that he can recruit nationally, he can recruit internationally. One of his stars came from Canada. The reputation of this guy as a recruiter.
Well, you said it. With all the McDonald's All-Americans, just an elite recruiter. One of his top guards that we wouldn't mind seeing in a different color orange next year is from Detroit, Michigan, Saginaw, Michigan. So he had got the ability. Now, is that, like you alluded to, is it because of Texas and their facilities and playing in the Big 12? We'll see. But it's also, you know, his assistants from Maryland being able to go in and get the likes of Durant and those guys. I believe that he's going to be able to get it done from a recruiting standpoint, because regardless of wherever you're at, those relationships don't leave you. And when he goes into walking the home, back to that integrity standpoint and his track record of success, he's going to be able to walk into homes and sell now Tennessee in our facilities.
How tough is it going to be? It's been tough for just about every UT basketball coach that's ever taken the job. How tough is it going to be to get into Memphis? Or you look at Josh Pastner and say, okay, if you're ever going to get into Memphis, now's the time to do it. And is Rick Barnes and his reputation the man to do it?
Both. I think, you know, I'm a believer, and you got to go in there and you got to go be selective of who you're going to recruit out of Memphis. Right. You're not going to spin your wheels going there. Atlanta as just as many players, and with how Georgia Tech's been, Mark Fox, you know, you're going to be able to go down there and still recruit from that hotbed as well. But I think from a relationship standpoint, as much as it is the head coach, it's a lot of your assistants. And I think by the likes of who he's bringing on staff here, you know, one guy that's not an assistant coach, and Jay Lucas, his dad is John Lucas, runs a huge grassroots AAU basketball that just is a relationship thing. And the comfort of being able to go in those different places like a Memphis and get those kids will be huge.
You mentioned somebody that Fall fans would like to see switching the color of orange. Rick Barnes has said he's not going to recruit any of those kids from Texas. That's kind of standard operating procedure for a coach to say. If one of those kids called and said, I want to come with you, coach, I'm guessing he wouldn't say no.
No, because as we've talked about, you know, recruits are going to come. They go to a school, unless they're a hometown kid. A lot of times it's the head coach. It's the opportunity to play there, the roster, how it fits. And I think if I'm an elite player right now and I look at Tennessee's roster, I'm signing up for Tennessee because of the talent pool that they're going to be competing against the playing time.
Yeah. Let's talk about style of play. The last couple of coaches have had kind of their, you know, Bruce Pearl was up-tempo, Cuonzo Martin more of that grinded out Big Ten approach. Donnie Tyndall, we saw him go more up-tempo this year just out of desperation because he had to get buckets somehow. Thoughts on Rick Barnes' style of play, or does he have a DNA?
Yeah, well, what's funny, and he alluded to it in his press conference about his ability to relate to his players, and I think you see that a lot from your elite coaches, is they have some principles that they want to stick to, but ultimately they're so good that they're able to kind of move things around in conjunction with how good their talent is and their specifics of their players. Because I look through, I got the scouting reports from when we played Texas.
Show people
we
how
played
thick
them.
that is.
Yeah, that's just one of them. We spent that's a lot of video hours there. But they're all different. A lot of that is, the first time when we play at Texas, their personnel was different. No Kevin Durant. Second time in our place, DJ Augustine, Kevin Durant. Next time they got more biggers, Connor Ashley, another shooter. So he changes it up. But one thing you look at the roster, he likes big guys. He's got 8 guys over 6'8", which Tennessee does not have right now. So it'll be interesting to see how he changes it up offensively.
All right. Let's talk about game planning against this guy. There's the game plan. There's the scout, I should say. When you guys went up against him, you were there for the last 2 of those games. Of course, Bruce Pearl's first year, the win at Texas was really the one that opened up the floodgates for the Vol program. But went 1-1 against Barnes the next 2 times, and you were on the staff. Game planning against him, did you spot were there strengths, weaknesses? What did you see?
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of times with any program, the times that they were really good is when they had those point guards. Isaiah Taylor for him this year was an elite point guard for him. DJ Augustine, like we talked about. So getting that guy onto your roster makes a huge difference. A lot of ball screens. At times when they had struggled, it was their toughness. It was, yes, they had the big guys underneath, but their toughness and being able to rebound consistently in the Big 12 was something that hampered them. And then if you could get them to slow down and you could keep them out of the paint, wall them off, and other than Abrams, if you remember him, make them shoot a lot of jump shots. They haven't always had a lot of great jump shooters, and that was one of their weaknesses year in, year out.
You had a quote from somebody at Texas. Did you want to pop that out or no?
Well, yeah, they had just, and I got some text messages from a couple former players and somebody within the athletics program. And a lot of it was more about how much he's missed, being a pro. The way he treats people, the integrity that he stands for. There's people all around, whether it's players, whether it's administrative people. A lot of people were sad to see him go because of what he stood for with that program.
All right, last thing, and this has been covered by the panel. Thoughts on this? There's already this deal out there, that he hasn't done well in the tournaments of late. He's a great recruiter, but not great at X's and O's. As I said earlier in today's show, it's hard for me to believe he wasn't great at X's and O's if you win 600 games. You got to know something about X's and O's to win 600 games. Your thoughts on that theme that's kind of taken off among those few in the fan base who aren't happy with this hire?
Well, those are the people that every time, no matter what happens, they're going to try to find something negative. Right. I mean, there's only so many coaches that you could put up there and you could hire and say, everything about his portfolio is perfect. There's not many out there, if any. And so that would be the one thing, because you look at, and again, we're comparing the 15 McDonald's All-Americans that he's had to the very few that we've had. And so we're thinking as fans, saying, man, if we only had that talent and we had the X's and O's of the coaches that we've had, we would be doing this. You don't know that. First off, the Big 12, over that course of period of time, is a better league. You look at the coaches and all that, although the SEC coaches is improving with the quality that's in the league, you talk about what's been in the Big 12 now for a while. It's a really good basketball league, and I don't believe that his X's and O's are poor, but we'll see it this year, because the talent roster, unless it gets a huge makeover, is going to be low. And so that's where some of your X's and O's are going to be coming to play.
And the guy was Big 12 Coach of the Year just one season ago. So it's, again, it's a little bit overblown.
If we would have hired him in place of Donnie Tyndall a year ago, after he was Coach of the Year, we would all be doing cartwheels.
Terrific.
And so 1 year later, the guy hasn't become all of a sudden a suspect coach. He's still a great coach that he won Big 12 Coach of the Year last year.
Brilliant deal. Mark, thanks for being here. Happy Easter.
Thanks, John.
We'll see you we'll see you when we see you. How about that? All right. When we come back on the Sports Source, we'll have the panel. We'll go to the drawing board. Come on back.